Tough times at the stock market. What about the safe haven gold and silver? Can we trust these markets? What about the bitcoins and, of course, the energy markets? Stick with me and let's find out together. Yes, indeed, hard times at the stock market, the global stock market. If you want to have a clue what is going on there as well, you may watch my latest video here on this channel in English, or the latest one in German, which is a little bit newer. If you're able to listen to my German language, then you may follow this as well. In this case, we want to have a closer look at the safe haven markets, gold, for example, and starting with that one. And you can already see that we had some kind of a support levels here, roughly around 1825, but the market came down strongly and was not taking the chance for turning around. You can see this level here again. You can see here on a 4-hourly chart, there was no chance for a turning market at that very moment here. However, even plunging below that levels, now the market is coming up and giving us at least a little bit of hope that the market is now turning around and giving us a buying opportunity. However, I would not trust this market too much so far. What does it need to give me the opinion that buying is the best opportunity? Currently, what we have here, you can see in the 4-hourly chart, what we have here is something like an ABC pattern. ABC pattern are typically corrective patterns. As long as the pattern is looking like this, there's still a solid chance that this is only a corrective pattern and the market in the subsequent will fall again. To confirm this, we can have closer looks here. And you can see in the 15-minute charts, currently I don't see any turning, so this is not imminent. We still have the chance, this is not gone, but it's not the best point to sell short the market at that moment here on the weekend. The market is closed, of course. However, you don't see any turning opportunities at this point here. However, one point for turning is, or a confirmation for a turn is, the break of the latest intermediate low. Not that point, this is too far. Sometimes this is only the target of a movement. You can maybe expect that the market is continuing, but not going very far below this point. But this is a better entry point. So always, if possible, take an ABC pattern, take this intermediate low here for selling short, or vice versa for entering a long position. So to make it clear, this is a low on 18th of May in lunchtime European time, or in the morning US time, or wherever you are. The Japanese may have this in the evening time. But this is around 1807. So you can see this here on the left side. So if the market is plunging through this level, then we have a good opportunity to not think anymore of a bullish market. So as long as the market is continuing to the upside, the best would be very straight and coming down later again and maybe continuing another time. You can see this is a typical bullish, no, not bullish, strong movement. In this case, of course, it's bullish because it's heading upwards. But you can see this is a strong movement because most of the corrective patterns are not overlapping here. So this is giving me the indication, okay, this seems to be the stronger movement. And in any case, the market is doing something like this, then I would enter the market on the long side and say, maybe we have a good chance for buying and waiting for even way higher grounds, 2,000, 2,200, or even above this level. So before I would buy, I of course need some kind of a setback. So now let's come back to the current situation. If we have a setback now, something like this, maybe similar size like this, you can easily measure this. I tune this up a little bit so you can see it a little bit better. If you see something like this and compare this to that one, both would be the same size, which is awesome, very typical. However, this point would be below this point. So in this case, we would have some kind of an overlapping pattern, which is also giving me the impression that the market is corrective way up. So the continuation of the stronger movement is in the making in this case. So what I don't want to see is too much of a setback. You can also see the internal structure here and here. You can see an early warning indicator is something like breaking these levels here, which is a 1825. So if the market is going below this level, also this pattern is giving us an overlapping situation, also indicating that the uptrend is merely a counter movement, a corrective pattern, and the market in the wake of the overall view is continuing to the downside when breaking through some important levels like I've mentioned before. So currently it's not a proof that the market is giving us a good long entry situation. To make me sure that buying is the better option, I would need some kind like this, some similar setbacks, a 5-wave movement to the upside, no overlapping, maybe internal structure like this. Also, no overlapping. This is giving me a good idea. Wow, this seems to be the strong part. I know some people are saying, yeah, but I'm missing this here. I could enter here if I knew this. Yes, that's absolutely right. However, you're not entering at the highest point. You also enter at that level here. But in this case, you also have the confirmation that this is a stronger way to the upside. So currently, it is still not decided whether we have the corrective pattern or the strong pattern. This depends, breaking here or continuing to the upside. So if you're a shorter term trader on a lower time frame, of course you can watch out for some pattern confirming this on a 15-minute chart, on a 5-minute chart. So you can of course enter a long position, but this is not the part of this video. If you want to stick with the market here, then in the bigger time frames, I suggest for going long, it is better to wait a little bit, because this is indicating that the market is not trusting this support level very much. Just a short glance on this left upper chart here, which is the weekly chart, and you can see some quite awkward drawing here. You can see that this seems to be something corrective. This also seems to be something corrective. So it is really typical that at the very end you have something like an impulsive move, which is leading us typically around these levels here, which are the lows from March 21, from August 21, which are roughly 1700, 1600, so roughly this year, maybe 1550 here, something like this, maybe the target, if this is occurring here, this typical chart technical flat corrective pattern. And if you're not aware of this one, they are super typical. They're looking like this: corrective down, corrective up, and strong wave down at the very end. And these kind of patterns are normally, for example, in a bull trend in the commodity market, 40%, 78%, 47% of all corrective pattern here are like this. So it is really typical. It's not really seldom. It's not rare. You can think that this is really a typical one. So if the market is not giving us that, I would expect after some kind of a break, it can take a little bit of longer time, but after a break we will continue to these lower levels again. I'm not 100% sure this is coming now, but this is only a corrective pattern. I would not trade this. It can go a little bit lower on a lower time frame here. It may go lower first, maybe to these levels, and then we have a similar size corrective like this one. So you can see, this is what I've mentioned before, the 5-wave movement. This is what I've drawn here, and this would be something I have to show you here, 5-wave to the downside. So this is my expectation currently, with a chance this will not occur. In any case, the prices will rise strongly and coming down in a corrective way. If you see something like this, whatever you think in the bigger picture, at least in the meantime, you can have an intermediate long position, and then you may decide later whether you sell short later when breaking these levels, or try to turn around here, or staying in the market. But please keep in mind, this point would be higher than this. This would lead to an overlapping situation, indicating that this might be at the end. But this is too early, because all of this did not happen so far. So stick what I've drawn before. and have an impression what gold is doing currently. Take care with entering the long market too early. Be aware that this is still not proved as an end of a sell market. What about silver? Silver is roughly the same, but starting here with a bigger time frame, here the weekly chart, you can see that we are in this corrective, the end box, let's say it like this, of this corrective pattern, which may be roughly a little bit below 21. This is really typical. It can be a little bit lower. You can see 50% setback, 61.8 here. Maybe you cannot read this. These are the red lines here, the Fibonacci retracements from this strong movement to the upside. So I'm bullish in the overall market. I'm absolutely bullish in the overall market. But currently, I'm not absolutely sure the market, same like in gold, I'm bullish with the overall market, but I'm not sure we had what we wanted to have already. So what I see here is some kind of a corrective pattern, and I'm wondering, is this coming to an end now? Yes, in silver, we are in the target box, but you can also see we have another cluster roughly around $19 per ounce. So you can see that we still have some room to go. This is not a promise that we will reach this, but we can expect this can also happen. So it's really important to understand we are absolutely in a corrective pattern, what we've seen here from the down movement. So we can expect a turning point soon, from every moment from now. But also later is possible, roughly 19 maybe. Currently, I would not suggest that the market is dropping very far below that levels. So I think the market will find some turnaround in this box here, which would be really typical. It's not a promise that the market always is doing what it is typical. But of course, it is, let's say it's the best guess to go with is really typical with the market, and to stick with the normal probabilities. So I would expect the market is turning soon. Did he already? Let's check the daily chart, and you can see, okay, the market turned around already. That's good news. And let's go on a 4-hourly chart. It turned around already. Also good news. So currently, it looks a little bit like moving like this. Well, this is a little bit awkward because unfortunately, this is, well, not too much, giving us an overlapping. So it is questionable whether this is a real overlapping. However, this one is way smaller than this one. So I'm in the bad position that I have no secureness. Is this an A, B, C pattern and a big corrective pattern? In this case, I normally would expect the same here again. This is normally called as a double zigzag. You have a zigzag in front. You have a bigger corrective pattern. Yep, we have it. And you have something like an ABC at the back end as well, which is something like a double zigzag. Let's have a view on this as well. You can, here, double zigzag. You have a zigzag here in front, a bigger corrective, and after this, another zigzag at the end. Sometimes it's a little bit bigger. Not necessarily. If you have all these ratios, you may have the idea that, let's go with this one, it's easier to read normally. You can see that the third wave is more or less bigger than the the first wave, but you can see the center of mass, which is a good guess, is roughly 120, 30, maybe even 40 aroundish. So you can see that somewhere here is the expectation. So this may mean that this part is a little bit bigger, so we are still in something like a bullish movement. If this is the case, is there any other thing we can suggest? Yes, something like a 5 wave with a big fourth wave. And now we would expect something like a setback, but this also would lead us to higher grounds, because if this is a 5 wave pattern, typically a 5 wave is not alone. Especially if this is not a C wave of a flat. I don't want to discuss this in this video, but if you're aware of Elliott a little bit, you know this already. But if you have this one as a first wave, you can expect something like a corrective pattern, can also look something like this. And after that, a continuation to the upside. So what I see here is that silver has a good chance for now to continue a little bit higher for the next few hours, days, maybe even a week, to tend a little bit higher before Yeah, before what? Before taking the decision whether the market will continue or turn and giving us a corrective pattern. This will be made somewhere maybe here. So I think roughly, it's just a raw number, $23 I think is something you should have a closer look at, especially if we see something like this here. You can roughly take the first part and copy this to the end. Of course, if this is a bit lower, then of course this is a little bit lower. If this is a little bit smaller, then of course this is a little bit higher. So that's the reason why I cannot name the exact number here, because this is not given yet, because this is not given at that very moment. So the other part I've mentioned before was a three-wave in the beginning, a corrective pattern here, and a bigger than that one movement here, which is also leading us roughly to this level here. So the only question is, will we go straight forward or will we continue lower first before continuing here? However, I see a good chance that this week is giving us higher grounds here for silver, at least in the for the next many hours, few days, or very few weeks, maybe. I think it's not taking many weeks, but maybe 1 week, maybe 2 weeks, depending on we have the deterioration here or not. Currently in the 15-minute charts, I'm not so much for the buying side. So I would wait. If I want to buy, okay, I understand this picture, that's good. But shall I buy now? To be honest, if I see something like this, I'm a little bit scared to buy at that very moment, because if I have something like a corrective pattern here, I would always think of the market is continuing lower here first. So this is also indicating me now is not the best point for buying the market, which is giving us a little bit of better chance that we have the deterioration lower first before continuing here to the upside. So you can see gold and silver are quite similar in the big picture, in the very big picture, waiting for a turning point here, continuation to the upside, on a lower time frame tending upwards with some deterioration here. However, if the market is breaking through the intermediate lows here, then the chances are higher that the market will continue to the downside. This is not so obvious with silver, because of course some people may think, is this a good entry point for a selling short? No, I would not do this, because this is really unsymmetrically. You can see, or unsymmetric, you can see this is really long, this is really short. I don't like this. The chances are, in my eyes, higher that we get this one. So if you have this sideways correction here, you will be stopped in for a short position at the very worst point, because the market is turning around, then continuing to the higher grounds I've mentioned before. So silver, I would not take a bet on the short side, also especially because we are in this box already, which is not the case with gold. There's a chance that we will continue lower first, but in silver we don't have this. So silver selling short is only on a really low time frame. If you see something like this, if you're an intraday trader, you may think, yeah, well, I can easily trade this one on the short side. Yes, you can do this, but on the bigger pictures, I think silver is not such a selling short market anymore. It is more like, if it's going down, wait a little bit longer for confirmation to buy later. If it's turning up, you may have the buying opportunities similar to what I've mentioned before in gold. This is, of course, connection to the euro and the US dollar. It's more to the US dollar, of course, because gold and silver is normally connected to the US dollar. Of course, if you're a European guy and in a European country or Eurozone country, you will pay with euro. However, all the price movements I was talking about before were in US dollar, which is really typical for the precious metals. And they are, of course, linked to the US dollar. And you could see that we had really strong US dollar. The market came down, euro against US dollar was plunging down. And this is giving us an impression how strong the US dollar was. Of course, a strong US dollar means you don't need to pay so much for your precious metals, which also means that it's natural that the market is coming down. However, the latest movement here is something like a rebound. We had some kind of a support level here, end of 2016, 2017, early in the January, around these levels here. So it is quite natural that the market now is looking for a turnaround, for a turning point here. But is the market really pivoting? I'm not absolutely sure, but the lower time frames are indicating yes, for now, chances are quite good that we are willing to buy. You can see that this is a quite strong movement to the upside. It is at least giving us strong movements, higher, shaky to the downside. You can see this one. This is a check. I will switch to the 15-minute charts. It's maybe easier to follow. You can see this one. This is quite strong. This is an ABC pattern. You can see this is quite strong. This is an ABC pattern. So this is all indicating when the market is breaking through this level that we will lead higher. Not necessarily to very high levels. That's absolutely not on scope currently. We have some support levels which become a resistance here from 2020 March. However, for the next few days, I see the better chances, and having a look here, that the market is rising. And this is giving us an impression if US dollar is weakening, then we may have a chance that the precious metals will get more expensive. So I think there is a chance in conjunction that the market is turning currently. So let's have a closer look to the Bitcoins. We nearly reached our target levels. So this is giving some people maybe hope that the market will turn around. We've measured this before. You can see the arrow here is giving us the same distance by price. It's $36,000 less per Bitcoin. In this case, same size would be from here to here, which will lead us to roughly 12,000, which is a big drop, of course. If you measure this one from here to here by percentage, where it is just 50%, from here to here is 50% down. If you take the same measurement in a relative way, 50% from here to here would lead us roughly to this level, 23,000 roughly. And we nearly reached this area. So it is the chance that we are coming to an end, because the market is already reaching the area we normally would expect this. So you see some overlapping of both ideas. So it is, I should draw it more or less like this and see we can span something like a target area out of both, which is roughly here. So this is the combination of both idea. The first one should, the smaller setback is here and the bigger one is here roughly. So we can expect somewhere in this box there might be the target for the down movement, but we can expect we are coming to an end soon. So should we buy now? Let's have a closer look on this part here. This is on a daily chart. We can have a closer look here. Of course, it looks quite good because on the first glance, it looks like, wow, that's exactly what I like to see. We had a strong movement intraday, ABC down, expect something like a continuation and to the moon again. Yes, on the first glance, it might be a good one, but if you see the 15-minute charts, you can see that this first part here is looking like a three-wave pattern. And a strong movement is not starting with the three-wave pattern normally. So what I see here is a little bit similar to what we've seen before with gold. This one is a three-wave pattern, this is a corrective pattern, and this is the second three-wave pattern, which may lead us to 33,000, 34,000, maybe even 35,000, depending on size, maybe even 36,000. Even this is possible. But somewhere around this one, this would be something like this double zigzag situation we've had before. However, even prices like this would look corrective if the price is after that falling here. So if you're a lower time frame trader or interested in lower time frames, I would think that currently we have the better chances for buying for many hours, maybe a few days, even maybe 1 or 2 weeks or whatever, when breaking these levels here, roughly 30,700. It's only a raw number here. Then the market is breaking this one. We have still this behavior here, and this is not killing the idea we have here, because on the daily chart you can see we had the first movement, a break, second strong movement, which is the third wave, fourth wave break. That's what we discuss on the 15-minute chart. And after that, the fifth wave, which may lead us here or lower or wherever, somewhere around 20,000 plus minus 5,000 or whatever. So I think what we see here is only a temporary situation that the market is giving us a buying opportunity. I don't believe that this is giving us the best part for entering a long position currently. I would stick with the bear side, which is selling short if you are trading futures or other contracts on that. If you're not willing to sell short that, if you're holding, then you have the chance that the market is turning soon, but still the potential to suffer because there might be another 10,000 or 15,000 drop, maybe even more or less $20,000 drop before the market can regain strength. To give you at least a glance of hope, you can see this is not really untypical. You can see that the market did this before here as well. Market came down really strong in an ABC shaped pattern and was continuing later. So this is still possible here as well. So this is not the possible end of all cryptocurrencies or Bitcoin in special currently here in this chart. But you have to wait for this one, I guess, before you can continue to the upside. If you're a long-term holder and if you want to enter, I would not buy now. I would wait for this one or for confirmation later for giving me a little bit more support for buying. At the very end, and there's a reason why I took crude oil, WTI. In this case, it's CL. You could see this is the future, the light sweet crude oil future we have here to the end, because the energy market is a little bit unclear in my eyes. I am not super convinced that it is clear what is happening here. Just have a glance at the bigger picture. You can see it would be really typical after the 5-wave pattern to the upside to expect something like an ABC pattern to the downside, which may lead us roughly between 90 and 80, maybe 83 or 85, or let's say 80, something around this would be really typical and a relief for this bull market here. However, in the aftermath, I can I'm absolutely sure we have a better chance that the market will continue. I'm not sure from that point or lower, depends on how far this will go to the downside. But this is something would be really lovely to see. So to see that the market is going down. Lovely to see is not because my personal needs on crude, it is just by chart technical measurements. So typically this is the case here. This would give me a good indication that we are on the right track and we can read the charts well currently. If we see the lower time frame here, the daily chart, in this case I've drawn here something which is fitting roughly into this idea, and I think the positive idea or side here is that this part is really looking corrective. You can see this is a trend channeling with a lot of overlapping, and when the market, in case the market is breaking through this level, which is short below 100, it is 98 roughly, when the market is breaking through this level, then I think we opened the door for that levels here I've mentioned before on the weekly chart. Currently, can this still be a bullish market? Well, let's have a closer look here on an intraday chart to see this on a high resolution. You could see that we have something like a cluster here for a resist, which is giving us a chance that the market indeed is falling now and giving us this low here, which is 11th of May as a trigger for the short side. However, there's still a chance, at least a chance, that this part is the first upward. We have some A down, a B to the upside, a C to the downside. You can see this is again, this part here, the down movement is again, I draw it again. This is the first part, this is the A, the B, and the C wave that we're talking about in gold and silver, especially in gold, with a flat corrective pattern. And you can see this may be the case to continue to the upside, and then it is only halfway down and a continuation to the upside. So this would be the bullish picture. So it is really crucial when we see here. The market came down here from the highest levels here. From that point here, from the box, you could see the market came down in a strong movement, shaky up, strong movement, corrective, down, which is more or less a 5-wave pattern. In case we now get something like a ABC pattern breaking through this level, I definitely would suggest to stick with the short side. Another confirmation is this level here, roughly 98. If the market, after this coming down here, and maybe coming down one time more, this, and let's say roughly same size, again, here at that end, I can take it here over, so that it's looking like this, and not plunging through this level, then there is the last chance that we see the bull market directly, for example, when breaking this level or have corrective patterns here on the lower time levels, frames, and you can see some levels for entering the market on the bull side. So this is not given yet. I think we have a strong chance that we see this one. However, currently we are in a non-decidable situation because we are in between both situations. If you want to buy this market, you have to keep an eye on the possible chance for selling lower here. So if you want to trade and buy the market now, at least set your stop at that level. I think this is really, it would be a typical entry for a short level, or maybe a little bit higher, because the market can continue a little bit lower first before turning to the upside. So if you want to buy, this should be your stop level here, or you have to go on a lower time frame, maybe if you see something like this. If you want to sell short the market, currently I would say this should be the stop level on the upper side, so I would not like to see something higher than 116. If you think this stop is way too far from me and my position, then you should wait for the same situation I've drawn here. Enter the market short here, sell, set your stop here, or even 78%. If you're not aware of this one, I will tell you another time. But you can see that this is a good chance that the market will continue here on lower time frames first, and then is giving us a picture here as well. So at the very end, natural gas. What is about natural gas? To be honest, I don't have any clue. This is Henry Hub. This is not natural gas you can buy in different countries. This is the US dollar noted Henry Hub natural gas. However, this is a good tradable market here for natural gas. Why don't I have a clue? Because the market to the upside is moving up, yes, but in a really corrective way. I can switch to the 50-minute chart, and you can see this part was good. You had an ABC pattern, so we would expect the same thing here again. Okay, we had this. However, this market setback, 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 setback. We have so many setbacks here. This does not look really convincing for a buying opportunity. To be honest, I would think that this is only a corrective pattern, an ABC pattern. From the overall picture, you can see, if I have a free wish, no, I would not take this one, but normally from a chart technical point of view, I would prefer the market is coming down here for the fourth wave, and then may continue to the higher levels here, so that we can have something like a typical pattern here. We would have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in between as well, an ABC pattern here, and a continuation to the upside. This would make me feel quite good, because this is a really typical one, roughly $7, maybe 6.5, maybe even 6, can be a little bit lower, and after that we can continue to higher grounds. Currently, however, what the market is showing us here, this is also looking corrective. So the market is not really targeting for lower prices currently. So we have a weak movement here, we have another weak movement here. What does it mean? That does mean that all of the market participants don't have any clue what to do. If they have not a clue what to do, how should I do? I don't know as well. So that's the reason why I stay out of this market currently. Maybe on a lower time frame, if you see something like this, like a strong movement here, for example, like this here, and a shaky here to the downside, you can of course trade these parts of the charts into the direction of the stronger market after waiting for the corrective pattern. However, the overall situation is quite unclear, so that's the reason why I currently would not suggest to do something. I don't do anything, because all patterns are looking a little bit awkward, saying us that the market participants have no clue, and if they don't have, I do either. So that's what I see with the commodity markets, the gold and the energy markets. We have seen euro against US dollar and of course the bitcoins, silver as well. I hope this was helping you and giving you a good inspiration what you can do for yourself in the next few days and how you can have a look at the market to find your own trading ideas. If you like this, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And of course, the like. This is giving me a good feeling and inspiring me to do more for you. If you have any questions, if you have any suggestions, you may post this in the comments below. And I hope you have a good and successful week. Seeing you soon. Bye-bye.